Have you ever dated someone whose emotional vocabulary consists of right, okay, and the occasional deeply profound grunt? I once told my very British partner Arthur that I loved him more than life itself. He nodded thoughtfully and said, "Good, that's efficient." I thought our relationship was running on emotional fumes until I cracked the code. And the truth was funnier and far more beautiful than I ever could have imagined. When I first started dating Arthur, I thought I had found the perfect man. He was kind, intelligent, had a charming accent that made even reading the grocery list sound like a Shakespearean sonnet, and he could build an IKEA bookshelf without a single curse word. A true unicorn. There was just one tiny little quirk. Arthur communicated his feelings, like he was sending a top secret telegram in wartime. Every word was rationed. For our 1 year anniversary, I wrote him a 3-page letter detailing the profound impact he'd had on my soul. I poured my heart out. I read it to him by candlelight. He listened patiently, a small, thoughtful smile on his face. When I finished, my voice thick with emotion, he leaned over, kissed my forehead, and said, "Lovely. Now, have you seen the remote? Match of the day is on." I was convinced he was a robot, a handsome, tea-making robot, but a robot nonetheless. I decided to take matters into my own hands. I launched what I now call Operation Emotional Extraction. Phase 1 was direct questioning. "Arthur," I'd say, "do you miss me when I'm at work?" He'd look up from his newspaper and say, "Well, the house is certainly quieter. Easier to concentrate." It wasn't a no, but it wasn't a yes either. It was an observation. Phase 2 was emotional bait. I'd sigh dramatically and say, "I had such a stressful day," hoping for a hug and words of affirmation. Instead, Arthur would disappear and return with my favorite blanket, a bar of dark chocolate, and a perfectly brewed cup of tea, set it all down and say, "Right, let that sort you out." The final, desperate phase was the Feelings Summit. I declared a screen-free evening dedicated to deep connection. I lit candles. I put on whale sounds. I had my flashcards. The first card I drew said, "Share a time you felt truly vulnerable." Arthur stared at the card for a solid minute. I leaned in, my heart pounding, ready for a breakthrough. He finally looked at me with great seriousness and said, "That time on the M25 when the petrol light came on? Terrifying." I just stared at him. And then I started to laugh. Not a polite giggle, but a full, uncontrollable, tears streaming down my face laugh. Because in that single absurdly practical moment, I finally got it. His love wasn't in the words he said. It was in the bookshelf he built, which had never wobbled. It was in the tea he made me, exactly how I like it, without ever being asked. It was in the blanket and chocolate he brought me, not because I asked for comfort, but because he saw I needed it. He brought me my favorite fuzzy socks last winter because he noticed I got cold feet. He'd charged my phone because he knew I'd forget. He wasn't speaking the language of "I feel." He was fluent in the language of "I do." His love was quiet, consistent, and practical. It was an unspoken promise that he would always be there to make sure my feet were warm, my tea was hot, and my bookshelf was sturdy.
1. Learn to be a love detective. We often wait for our partners to show love in the way we expect it. The real path to connection is to stop waiting and start observing. Look for the small, consistent actions. Do they make your coffee? Do they handle a chore you hate? Do they listen quietly while you vent? 2. Translate, don't demand. Demanding someone speak your love language can feel like criticism to them. Instead, learn to translate theirs. For me, "I've made you tea" now translates to "I was thinking of you and I care about your comfort." "I fixed the squeaky hinge" translates to "Your peace and happiness in our shared home matters to me." This simple act of translation can fill your emotional bank account. 3. Appreciate different forms of presence. For some, emotional presence means deep, soul-bearing talks. For others, like Arthur, it's a quiet physical presence. It's simply being there, offering silent support. It's the steadfast promise that you're not going through life alone. This quiet presence can be just as powerful and healing as any grand declaration. What are love languages in your life or relationship? Share your story in the comments. Let's learn from each other. Don't forget to like this video if it made you smile, subscribe to Heartwise for more real relationship wisdom, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a dose of heart-to-heart talk. Until next time, lead with your heart, wise ones.